Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris Don One, and I am Brock with another video. Guys, rate, comment, subscribe. If you support the channel, if you support your boy, share this link with your friends, family, followers, comrades, your OGs. The new school, we're about to get into it. We're about to get into this because I was going to talk about this. Ooh, excuse me. I was going to talk about this last week when it exploded, but nevertheless, we're ready. All right. So let me see. Hold up. Let me share this link. Let's share the link. Let's share the link. Is it live or is it Memorex? Okay, so I shared the link. So we're about to get into this, man. We're about to address some people in here. We're about to have church. All right. First, let me bag this thing up. You a big fine mama, won't you bag this thing up? All right, so we're about to bag this thing up. And let's get into it, all right? So Sony released a theme that supports Black Lives Matter, and it left the whole video gaming industry in an uproar, in a major panic. You had people on Reddit, you had people making videos, you had people on social media voicing their opinions about Sony and Black Lives Matter, and not all the not not all the comments were negative. You know, there was a lot of people that understood what Sony was doing last week, supporting Black Lives Matter. And before we get into it, Microsoft also supports Black Lives Matter. Nintendo supports Black Lives Matter. What's up, my brother? How you doing, Astro? You always in here. Your face is always in the place, all right? So I gotta respect that, all right? So you got every major developer, studio, publisher, corporation, company in the video game industry, journalists, supporting Black Lives Matter. And I think that's a positive thing. Now, you had a multitude of people disagreeing with Sony and taking it as far as, well, I'm not going to support Sony. I'm not going to buy the next PlayStation. I'm not going to buy any games from Sony because they made a Black Lives Matter theme, which, by the way, this is not like this theme, you know, it's not like you put this theme on your PlayStation 4 UI, your interface, and the whole world knows what type of theme you have. Okay, this is something that only affects whoever's in your household. Anyone inside your household, guests that come over, if they're offended to that, those are the only individuals that would be offended by you having Black Lives Matter as a theme on your PlayStation 4. Those are literally the only type of people that would be upset with this, that would be appalled by this, okay? So, those, in my opinion, are the only major people that will be offended by Black Lives Matter, all right? So, let me turn this bitch around, all right? So, you had a lot of people in an uproar talking about, well, I'm not supporting Sony if Sony supports Black Lives Matter, which Microsoft supports it, Nintendo supports it, Epic supports it. Even in PC, everybody is supporting this movement, okay? And a lot of people are upset about it, all right? So much so. They're heated, they're hot, they're upset because of, you know, all these major corporations are giving it up, giving their flowers while they're living sort of approach in supporting Black Lives Matter. And either if you for or you're against Black Lives Matter, you should have a respect of supporting this cause. Okay. Now, when people talk about Black Lives Matter, hold on one second.
Welcome to McDonald's. What can I get for you?
Yes, can I get a large sweet tea and McDouble?
Is that it?
That is it.
All right, his total is $2.94 to card sundown.
All right. We're about to address all this. So, my whole thing of it is,
It's 94.
oh,
This is 80.
that's fine. I got another one. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. All right. So, here's my thing about the naysayers. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All righty, ma'am.
I'll put your star on the bag.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
You too, ma'am. So, here's my thing with people that's negative towards Black Lives Matter. No matter if you're for or against the cause, you know, everyone has an opinion about this cause. And you don't have to be for something that you don't understand. But here's my thing about Black Lives Matter and how Black Lives Matter has gotten a crop of people that's totally against this and don't understand the movement. And then they start connecting the dots of other things going on and try to implement and discredit Black Lives Matter. All right. So here's one. You never had this is a movement that brings the worst out of people. All right, and allow a brother to explain. When the Me Too movement was going on a couple of years ago, everybody was for that cause. They understood, and everyone was for the defense of a lot of women out there who get for domestic violence, sexual assault, harassment at the workplace. Everybody was for that cause. They understood why there's a cause like this. They wanted to bring awareness, okay? And when that was established, you had a lot of these corporations changing how they do business. You have a lot of these guys that were committing crimes, losing their jobs, losing their freedom, losing their respect, losing finance, losing their money, because of the Me Too movement. And everyone was for it. Even guys was for the Me Too. We all was aware of why that movement took place. You didn't have a swarm of people being so hateful and being so negative about the movement. Okay, so and when even the lesbian movement, the gay movement, even though you did not understood it, you was not aware of it, you still respected it. You still respect that movement. But when it comes to Black Lives Matter, it brings Black Lives Matter is like truth serum to a lot of people. People that you never suspected to be against the African American community as far as changing a lot of things that we tolerated throughout our whole entire generation in the United States of America, gradually changing laws that were against us as African Americans. Okay, the ability to vote, the ability to run for office, the ability to, I mean, all of this stuff stems from we as African Americans no longer tolerating the good old boy network. All right, and we have come a long way. And a lot of people think we overcome when Obama was president of the United States of America, and that was a proud moment. But I think what's more prouder, being African American, is the fact that now more than ever we're leaders of the industry. We have a voice in government. We're leaders in government. We're leaders in journalism. We're leaders in education. Okay, we're just as equal as white America goes. Okay, so we're starting to tread that way, and a lot of people assume when they say Black Lives Matter, they start talking about the negativity, and they connect Black Lives Matter to it, like the rioting. Okay, people say, well, why did they have to riot? Okay, basically saying, why did African Americans riot? When the truth of it is, everybody was rioting. Okay, every nationality, every gender. Okay, everybody was out there rioting. And you know why it got to that point? Because we spent so many years, centuries, decades, doing the peaceful route, having basically having marches peacefully. Okay, and it didn't work. Colin Kaepernick is the reason why. And he tried it this way. And people were so against him doing that. And people would make excuses of, you should just shut up and play football. Or, discredit him and say, well, you're not qualified to be a spokesman for the African American community. Just making excuses instead of just hearing him out. Okay. And I'm not here to tell you Colin Kaepernick was a saint. There's a lot of things Colin Kaepernick said and did that was questionable, and I do not co-sign with. But however, his initial statement when it came to police brutality, people were not aware that African Americans get killed more by the police than any other nationality. And that's the voice. That was basically he was telling the world. Now everybody starts saying, well, then what about when blacks kill other blacks? Okay, how come you guys don't talk about that? And with Black Lives Matter, it's all African American life. It doesn't matter who takes the life away. It doesn't matter if it's the police officers, if it's our own, if it's other genders, if it's other ethnic backgrounds. Still, Black lives really do matter. And when you look at this system was formed and created to be a blocker towards African Americans. So when they say defund the police, okay, yes, literally they want to take all the money from the police force, okay? But if you really dig deeper into it, they're basically saying what we need to do is have better police officers. Not to say we shouldn't have no security out there on the street, but we should have better officers, okay? Do y'all realize it doesn't take that long to be a police officer? Maybe 6 or 7 weeks. You don't have to have that much education to become a police officer, just some college education, okay? So when you have that system already put in place, And now you got these young officers making life threatening decisions, life decisions in an instant second. That's why you have so many police killing African Americans. Not to mention the fact George Floyd, when he got killed, when he died, God rest his soul. The police officer was kneeling on his neck, okay, applying all his weight on his neck, and that was a lot of people was trying to explain it away that that's what they teach you in the police academy, and then they outlawed that, they banned that, and it's a crying shame that it took someone to lose their life to understand that maybe, the way how police are taught and brought up, maybe we should do more research on it, have better education for as far as training our officers, and have better officers. Okay, so what's up, man? How you doing? So when Black Lives Matter, people always, when they condemn Black Lives Matter, the first thing they talk about are the riots. Then they talk about how blacks kill other blacks, okay? And Black Lives Matter is nobody talks about the effect Black Lives Matter is having in today's society. Now, when Black Lives Matter is linked to so many positive things and so many changes in the African American community, people don't realize. Like, for an example, we used to have monuments in state offices and in state museums or schools and things of that nature of people, and we promote these people as heroes, and they were plantation owners. Okay, I'm 34, African. Did I became? Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm 34. Did I become the PlayStation 5? I don't know, dude. But let's get back into Let's get into today's topic before we start talking about PlayStation news. But my thing of it is, they don't realize, with the monuments and stuff, we used to praise these heroes, and now come to find out these heroes were plantation owners. These heroes discredit the African American community, okay, slaying a lot of African American killed a lot of individuals that happen to be African American, and now with Black Lives Matter, it's changing how the world is today. Now we're getting rid of those monuments, okay? Now we're getting rid of those statues like General Lee and all and so forth and so on, okay? It's also changing the system. The criminal justice system has been changed because of Black Lives Matter. So Black Lives Matter sheds light in areas that a lot of us as African Americans just went along with, and we would always have this in the back of our head. Oh, the system is never going to change, okay? And the system was created with us, without us in mind, okay? And now with Black Lives Matter, it's shedding light on things that we used to tolerate, and we just said, hey, it is what it is. Now, even the system is justified. The system is changing. The way how we view people in the past is changed, okay? So that's a lot of people, when they talk about Black Lives Matter, they're always speaking on the negative, but in actuality, it goes deeper than that. In actuality, it definitely goes deeper than that. So going back to the PlayStation theme, even though the PlayStation theme, a lot of people are critical of Sony's decision, and they're saying that Sony is acknowledging Black Lives Matter, and they shouldn't have these themes, even though these themes are only it's only going to affect the people who install these themes on their PlayStation 4, and those are the only people in that household that's going to see it. It's not your friends are not going to be able to see this. Okay, so why are you so irritated of having a Black Lives Matter theme in the PlayStation Store that's free, and no one else is not going to be able to see this other than the person who downloads it and applies it on their UI and on their interface? So a lot of people were upset about that. And then a lot of people would say this comment on social media. They will say, well, Sony should do more, okay? They should give money. They should give money. They should give back, which Sony has already done those things, okay? So same as Microsoft, same as Nintendo. There have been organizations that's heavily supported by African Americans in the even in the past as well as the present, that Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo has contributed. Okay, but just because you donate money, you know, and you're doing themes and you're supporting Black Lives Matter, okay, I think that's a welcome experience. I think you know, that speaks in volume, but just cutting a check just isn't enough. I felt like, to be truthfully honest, what Microsoft and Sony did, they just acknowledge Black Lives Matter. And that's all we as African Americans wanted from the get-go. We just wanted corporations to finally acknowledge us, that you know, and that's it, and support our cause. And I don't understand why so many people are so irritated because of Black Lives Matter. Okay, you know, I just think when you look at it retrospective, if you look at it, you know, I don't understand why people are so bent out because of this theme. And like I said last week, a lot of people on social media was really showing their warts, and they really showed you who they really are, because of they're upset because of the Sony theme. And but when you talk about all these other things I mentioned earlier in this live stream, no one had a problem with it. No one. You heard zero negativity about it. But and when you talk about Black Lives Matter, they do a lot of things to try to discredit it. Okay, first they try to link it in with other things that have nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. Okay, then the second thing they do is you know, talk about how, you know, what about in your own culture? What about in your own neighborhoods? How come you don't practice what you preach, and somehow link that to Black Lives Matter? Okay. And then the third thing they do, and I'm going to talk about this for a brief hot second, and when you mention Black Lives Matter, someone always have to have a hashtag where all lives matter. Okay. And, you know, which that's true as well, but it really has nothing to do with the cause that we're talking about today, which is Black Lives Matter. Again, you can agree to disagree. You can just totally disagree with it, but when you start implying other factors and try to somehow discredit Black Lives Matter, you come off looking not only hypocritical but kind of ignorant of what Black Lives Matter is actually supposed to be. Okay, it's supposed to you know, bring out awareness that affects our community when it comes to the government system, you know, just systems overall, and how, you know, it enlightens those things, and it also highlights the things that we have overcome for the past couple of decades. Okay, so when people talk about Black Lives Matter, you know, and they speak so negatively about it, it's almost a sense that people have a passion to hate Black Lives Matter. Okay, and they make it sound like you know, it comes off so it has a lot of racial undertones about it. And then they start linking Black Lives Matter with things that have nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. Okay. I remember somebody was talking about how Black Lives Matter started, and then he came up with this story of um, of these two lesbian women starting Black Lives Matter. Now, no one really knows the origin of Black Lives Matter, in my opinion. I think Black Lives Matter has started multiple ways, okay? Depending on what part of the country you live in. You know, Black Lives Matter just cropped up from basically out of nowhere. We was doing this before we even started calling it Black Lives Matter, okay? And a lot of people was on the train when Colin Kaepernick was talking about the when he was talking about the injustice that our justice system is, and the justice system is, and police brutality. And he was also mentioning Black Lives Matter. Okay, I felt like Black Lives Matter even before Colin Kaepernick. Okay, and we always had these thoughts and concerns about it, but we never had a stage where everyone would pay attention to us in droves, in masses. Okay, and I felt like it started gaining traction, particularly on social media and particularly on the national stage, when you saw so many players basically kneeling for the national anthem, or having t-shirts of fallen African Americans who died because of police brutality. Okay, or I remember a girl in Chicago dying because of bullets ringing out in her neighborhood. Okay, and it started gaining momentum and traction, and it just started getting bigger and bigger to the point where it's uncontrollable. All right, and a lot of people looked at it as, it's being thrown down my throat. I don't want to keep hearing about this. NBA players were talking about it in the beginning of the season about Black Lives Matter. They had the arena, they had the floor with Black Lives Matter. They had t-shirts, jerseys, okay? And, even in football, even on the national, even in movies, as well as award shows, demonstrating their support and unifying to Black Lives Matter. Okay, and I felt like when it started being accepted, it was already accepted. Us as African Americans, we have already accepted this. We already acknowledged this. But to get it on the grand stand, the grand scale of things, and now it's being brought to other nationalities' attentions, most notably, when you talk about Caucasians, when you talk about white America, and then you kept hearing this mostly from white America about how oh my God, I had it in my head, then I forgot about it. About how guilty white privilege. You started hearing the white privilege theme about, white people in retrospect sitting back and finally acknowledging and admitting that they have white privileges. Okay, and you would hear stories about people that talk about it in droves, talk about, wow, after retrospect, looking at Black Lives Matter and what African Americans are or go through on a daily basis, it harbors me back to what I don't have to deal with. Okay, I don't have to wonder if the police stop me, or if the police going to stop me at all. Is this going to be my last day that I'm going to see my loved ones? Okay, and how the police react to African Americans versus other nationalities. Okay, so then you started hearing the white privilege thing coming from white America, and they're sitting back going, damn, I didn't think of it this way. All right. So a lot of things spawned from Black Lives Matter. A lot of things. And a lot of people benefited from Black Lives Matter. Not just the African American community, but all communities, all nationalities, all ethnic backgrounds, all religious backgrounds. Everyone uh took a piece of this, and we all prospered and benefited from this. Okay. And just like any other thing that we dealt with throughout the years, particularly the last thing we dealt with was the Me Too movement, and how guys were not aware that so many women will get sexually assaulted at work, or domestic violence. Okay. When domestic violence wasn't even on the forefront. Okay. It wasn't on the NBC nightly news. It wasn't on ESPN until you started seeing actual video of women being beaten at home, or sexual harassment or sexual assault. Okay. When we started visualizing what women was going through at the workplace or at home or whatever, even men had to take a pause and step back and say, yo, man, this is actually real. Okay. So with video, with actual video, you get to see, and it's not cut or anything. You actually see what women went through. Okay. And the same tactics that was took for the Me Too movement is going on with Black Lives Matter. Okay. You got so many African Americans being shot and killed, murdered by the police, and it's actual video footage of this. Okay. Back in the day, this would happen all the time, but there was no video footage of it, so you couldn't feel any sympathy for it. Okay. You heard it, you read it through the newspaper, you may saw a reporter talk about it, but you wasn't all that sympathetic about it because you didn't actually see it, you didn't witness it. Okay. So when George Floyd was murdered, and you saw 8 minutes and 46 seconds of it, now you start to sit back and go, whoa, this really does exist. This really does happen. Okay. And that made Black Lives Matter put on the forefront on other platforms, when it was just an urban type of myth, when it was just only we would see it, a handful of other people would see it, and it would never go anywhere further than that. Now this stuff is being shown on MSNBC, NBC. You're talking about CNN, Fox News. You get all of this graphic video that you can't explain away. Okay. And this is all, and this is what's great about Black Lives Matter. It brings everything to the forefront of what African Americans have to deal with on a daily basis, what they learn to accept and tolerate, because we will have in the back of our minds the way how the system is constructed. We have to deal with it. This is a generational problem that we're going to have to deal with. Okay. Nothing's going to change. We're just going to have to deal with it. Now, you got all these laws that's being changed. You got so many states that's and now it's a perfect storm, particularly with the elections and stuff. Now more than ever, people are voting. More African Americans are voting now, because they finally realized that it's very important to have this. Okay. So yes, man, my iPhone is almost, dang, I gotta save some storage, dog. But yeah, so that's all I got to say about it. Anybody that's listening, just hit the like button. Hook your boy up on the like button, man. I had a lot of viewers in here, but now it's down to like 2 or 3. Well, 1 or 2. And just hit the like button before you go. I really do appreciate everyone that came to the live stream. I will rant and talk about things later. I wanted to talk about the PlayStation 5. about what I saw on the IGN and GameSpot, but we'll do that some other time. It's your boy. I'm up out of here, guys. Deuces. I'll see y'all later.